Welcome to another edition of Careers That Matter. Joining me now is Paul Sitnam, who has spent his life as an international humanitarian. Paul, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
What exactly is an international humanitarian?
It is, one way of looking at it, Stuart, is you go out and give of yourself, of course you have to have the desire to travel, to look at other cultures and all that, and learn for yourself. But it's just giving of yourself to others. But you have to always realize you're going to get probably a lot more from those people than you're going to give them. I've always learned that. The education I got, the adventures I had, what I saw in the world, I got a lot more than I gave. Let's be honest. But I tried to give as much as I could, and there was a desire to help people. Our dad, he did that too, because he moved around quite a bit. And I learned from him that he was helping people in Brazil get their aeronautics industry up and running. So he was there to train, to help people, and he liked doing it. And I said, oh, that's not a bad thing to do. And so that kind of stuck with me. And the yen to travel, to check out other places, and just to do as much as I could to help others, but also at the same time knowing I'd be doing a lot of self-development.
So what's the most important part of the job as far as compensation is concerned? Because I don't think that you're looking at that kind of position saying, well, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get rich.
No, not at all.
Well, maybe you're getting rich, but not if you're measuring it against the size of your bank account, but rather the account of your life.
When you start moving from the volunteer domain, for example, when I was a volunteer in Papua New Guinea, I got $100 a month in local currency, but I had a house, and it's okay, fine, I'm learning. But once you move from the volunteer position towards an expatriate position, there the salaries are not bad if you qualify for it. And because there, when you go to expatriate jobs, you're being funded by the major donors in the world. Mm-hmm. And they understand that you got to pay people well to stay there. There's insecurity, there's learning how to cope with the culture. So the salaries are, I would say, a bit higher than what you get here, and you get a lot of breaks too. You get free travel. Your tax is not as high because you can write some of it off. So monetarily, for myself, it was great. Mm-hmm. I'm making $4,000 at that time a year, $5,000 a month. Sorry, not a year. It was great. It was good. It was good for me. But more than that, it was the ability to travel and meet new people and do something that I thought, well, maybe in Canada I've been lucky to have what I have. Let's see if we can share it a bit. But as I said, knowing all the time that you're going to get more out of it, and not just monetarily, you get more out of it than what you're giving.
So in the course of your career, you did business consulting, you helped deal with refugee camps, and then you moved into an area of emergency disaster relief.
Yeah.
What did that job, emergency disaster relief, look like? Like, what were the kinds of responsibilities that you had?
The responsibilities, well, they were kind of in the context of, on one hand, you had natural disasters. You had floods, volcanoes, earthquakes, the whole
fires,
gamut. Fires, yeah. Drought. You had that. And then on the other hand, you had human-made disasters, mostly conflict. And you had to go in, and sometimes right on the front line. And as later in my career, I was taking a bit of a back seat because others were going in, and I was trying to organize it. But you'd go in and make sure, what are the needs right now? Is it peaceful? Can you go in there? Is there security for everybody? You don't want to send your staff in there when it's not secure. But you take a chance. You go in, you look at the security, and you say, okay, what are the immediate needs of the people? Is it shelter? Is it food? Is it health? Is it protection, humanitarian protection? What is it? You have to really know what you're doing. That's what the job entailed. A good analysis and then quick decisions without having all the information possible. So sometimes you just really go by the seat of your pants. I hope this will work. And then getting people on board. And the other part of it, as I did that job, was fundraising, writing proposals to various donors, whether it's the Canadian government, the U.S. government, the Brits, a couple of others, the Europeans, the Germans, Scandinavians. So who were quite generous if you made a good case for yourself. And I had a lot of people with me. And another aspect of that, as you say, is to train people, your staff, the local staff, and the people you're trying to help to do that. One thing I did try to make sure when we did programs is to make sure that our local staff were paid well as well, not just the expatriates. Otherwise that would have caused a lot of resentment. And the other thing is to make sure that there was equality of treatment. You know, we had a lot of women working with us, and we were very much against discrimination for whatever reason. Didn't put up with it. You're out. You do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And the respect for international humanitarian law, which you would go talk to rebel groups. Sometimes I wonder if I'd survive because they were not exactly your Harvard graduates who would understand everything. You have to explain to them, this is humanitarian law. Rebel groups can do this. Governments should do that. And so we gave a lot of seminars to them so they would not abuse the refugees or the displaced people. So it was a job that entailed many facets.
Well, also, as you're describing the 6 or 7 different areas of responsibility, when you're going into any area where there's been a disaster, you then also have to develop supply and distribution lines as well.
Well, there's the logistics, of course.
Yeah.
There's logistics. There was that. There was the supply chain of materials. There was the issue of drilling wells, making sure they had enough clean water. There's an issue of making sure people had health care, and especially for kids, nutrition programming. So all of it was kind of like a service and physical delivery of goods that the people needed. So all that encompassed, that was part of the job, but make sure it was distributed and it reached the beneficiary on time.
How intense is the work when you're in those first 2 to 3 weeks following the most immediate need for help?
Well, at times you would say, what am I going to do here? It's almost impossible. You think of you remember the tsunami in Asia.
Yeah.
You remember, of course, the genocide in Rwanda.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks almost hopeless. We said, I got to start somewhere. And it's very tense for the first, let's say, month or up to 3 months. You're just constantly going, trying to do whatever you could to help people and getting ill at the same time, you know, so you have to really be careful with your health.
Well, because you must have been running on very little sleep.
Very little sleep and bad nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Until I was told to back off a bit and just take a back seat a bit, Paul. As I said, no Superman complex, just do your job. And that there was no reason to be afraid of saying I need to go take a bit of a break. And I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
He'll know.
Yeah.
My brother will know. How many times I've been hospitalized. Yeah.
So you went to school in Canada.
Yeah.
And post-secondary here in British Columbia at BCIT, right?
Yeah, BCIT, yeah.
Did you have any idea when you graduated from school exactly what your career was going to look like?
That's a good question. Yes, I did. Because from my early childhood, seeing what my dad did, I can remember telling my friends when I was in grade school, they would tell me what they're going to do. I said, I'm going to go work overseas. I remember saying that.
Yeah.
I'm going to work and live overseas. So it was a desire since grade school, through high school, through university, that's what I'm going to end up doing. And I did it.
So do you think that for somebody who's maybe looking at this right now going, oh my gosh, your career is an inspiration to me, what would you say would be the characteristics that they need to possess to be able to pursue a career like yours?
Yeah, it's a good question. Open-mindedness, a desire to help, open-mindedness. Make sure if you're going to, any domain in university, or even as I said, a trade, or a carpenter, or not, you can do it as long as you have an open mind and you really want to have a desire to help. and you're not afraid of learning, you're not afraid of making mistakes, and you work as an equal with others. You don't put yourself at a high horse and say, well, I'm here from Canada or wherever, and I'm going to be teaching you. Really? You'll be gone in a long shot. You'll be gone really quickly if you've got that kind of attitude. So you learn quickly to give of yourself, and as I said, know that you will get something back. But as I said, learning languages, learning how to communicate, and getting some hard skills like logistics, health, nutrition, and all that, that really helps.
And is the long-term career benefit that you get to say, I made a difference?
There's that, yeah. I made a difference in that I did the best I could. That's the codicil. I made a difference, and I tried to do the best I could, which means it has leaves a bit of room that sometimes I didn't succeed. You have failures.
It's a pretty nice statement to be able to make about a career well spent.
I would hope so. And I also want to say that if people want to go into this type of work, make sure you're well rooted in your family, because I found that family is so important. If you have good family support and understanding, whether it's from your spouse, your kids, or the family where you've come from, it's something you should all make sure you have that before you go overseas.
Foundational.
Yeah, foundation, yeah, family foundation. I never regretted doing that.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, sir.